so much. Thank you so much. Tonight, of course, is our salute to Baggs, Wyoming. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, Jessica Savitch is currently the anchorwoman on NBC TV's Saturday Night News. She has covered the Senate while a reporter for NBC in Washington and is currently writing a biography entitled Anchorwoman. Please welcome Jessica Savitch. Hi. How are you? Nice to see you. You look terrific.
Thank you very much. This is my sitting on an open set outfit.
What do you mean by that? I was going to say that doesn't look like, for example, Irving R. Levine wouldn't come out here dressed like that.
No, Irving would wear the same thing, but would have a bow tie right here. Okay.
Now, what does that mean, your open set outfit?
Well, this is an open set, meaning that you can
anything
see,
goes.
Yes. Well, no, it's that too, but you can see your legs. And television used to be a disembodied head like this, see, from here to here. And so therefore your legs don't show. You can wear whatever you want or sit on your feet or do anything you want.
Now, were this a closed set, what would you be wearing?
I would probably be wearing jeans or something like
that.
Really? Dressed from here up.
Is that true?
Yeah. Because the reason is you want to be comfortable when on television or wherever, and you want to be able to feel at ease. But unfortunately, when NBC News had an open set like this, it changed it. We had that for a while at Nightly News.
So you would have to come fully dressed. Was that ever a problem?
Yeah, I always came fully dressed, not dressed up.
Wait a minute here. That didn't sound proper.
I came fully dressed,
You're
but
fully
I wasn't
dressed.
Dressed up. Yeah. I didn't have clothes that matched on the bottom. They were different color by the time. The top would be very light and the bottoms would be dark.
Was this ever a problem when you began doing this?
It was. My first network show here 3 years ago, I really had to decide, because you sat like this to the side, kept your legs together and read the news like this.
You mean, wait a minute, you read your news over the shoulder?
Well, I did, because I was afraid to move to the front, because I had this habit of sitting on my feet like this or whatever. So I had to think about it, so I asked my mother what I was going to wear, and she said, not slacks, that's not good.
No.
So she said, you have to wear a skirt. So I wore a skirt, and I was so worried that I taped my knees and my ankles together, so that I would not move my legs, and it worked terrifically. It did, till the end of the show. When I got up and fell.
But no, you're kidding about that.
Really,
You actually...
I actually fell. Fortunately, we...
No, wait a minute. Let's you're ahead of me. You actually applied tape?
You know the gaffer tape we use in TV that mends anything but broken hearts, you know? You got that? You double face, it's just double face. This is not it, David, but you can make it double face by doing this. Here you go. Now it's double face.
Yeah.
Like that. I'll roll out of it so that your knees get taped together. This got very old very soon, so I started wearing culottes like this.
Would you be more comfortable if we went ahead and taped you up?
It depends who did the taping, I guess.
Hey, wait a minute.
Also, wait a minute. I'm not very comfortable anyway. I'm ill at ease.
Oh, no, don't say that.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I was really looking forward to doing the show, too, but I'm very ill at ease now.
Would it have anything to do with the duck or the guy from Wyoming, or...?
No, Baggs, Wyoming isn't as bad as coming from Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I think it's smaller, but...
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, but that's not it. I found the format sheet. We all use... NBC doesn't afford 2 dressing rooms, so we all use the same one just for makeup.
And taping.
Yeah, and taping. And here's the format, and it says interview with Jessica Savitch and interview with Jessica Savitch, and then down a little further, and it says Jessica continued or Bob the dog. You can't see this. So this means, folks, if I do well, I'll be back for segment 3, and you'll know if I don't do well because Bob the dog will be there.
Okay.
Who's Bob the dog?
Okay, if we have the Bob the dog tape loaded up, we're...
Who's Bob the dog?
Now, you don't want to hear about this, but it was certainly not meant as an affront to you. A while back, the head writer on this program thought it would be funny to produce some films from a dog's point of view. And there is mixed opinion as to whether or not this would be suitable television for North America. And as a result, it's kind of an ongoing discussion as to whether or not this will ever see the light of day. That's what that meant.
Just in case I don't make segment 3, this is my dog, Chewy. He's a terrific dog, and will be every bit as good as Bob.
That's a handsome-looking dog, and not...
Thank you, very nice dog.
Not unlike Bob the dog himself.
But better than Bob the dog.
No, not better than Bob the dog. Wait a minute, you. We're going to have to go away for a moment, and Jessica Savitch and I will return, covered with tape, right after this. Jessica Savitch, of course, is here, and we were talking earlier about you taping your legs in. I want to one more kind of silly thing out of the way, and then we'll get on to or maybe we won't. We'll see. Now, there was this poll, apparently, that called to my attention earlier this morning. Some company polled various newscasters around the country, and we all know how painful that can be.
Were you asked?
No, I wasn't asked,
Yeah.
but they found you to be now, what?
The second.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
They found that you were named the sexiest newscaster on television.
This was by my peers, so they should have known better.
Now, how does that make you feel?
Well, the first time I saw it, I heard about it on a local news station here in New York, and I'm used to reading the news, and there was a chroma key behind me, which is that picture in the box, and I was the picture instead of the person at the desk, so I thought I had died, and nobody notified me or something. And then when I found out what it was, I thought, well, I don't know if it's a compliment or not. I mean, it's supposed to be a compliment if you're recognizable. Dan Rather was the one for male anchors, so you figure he's a
Dan
good
Rather is the
Dan
sexiest?
Rather, yeah, sexiest male anchor according to this poll of news people locally.
Where did John Chancellor come in?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't check it beyond that.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to check and see if your name was
Yeah.
mentioned or something. No, I don't know. They didn't mention who was second and third. They just mentioned who got. But I figure Dan Rather is a good journalist. Roland Cronkite was mentioned as the most trusted, and it mentioned some other anchor people in the network, all of whom were good journalists. So you figure, well, that's in addition to the other, okay.
See, that's a lot of places people would think, well, you can't be the sexiest and also the best journalist reporting either.
Well, that belongs to the school of thought that says that all people who are blonde and on television news are therefore not good journalists. The definition of a good journalist being someone who is not blonde on television. I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah, but now that I know of a case, a city where I last lived had that problem. They had cheerleaders doing the news. Now, this both male and female. It was like Barbie and Ken bring you the news every night, and but.
I don't agree. Okay, I don't agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have them now. But I have ultimate and unending faith in the television viewing audience. And I think they know when somebody is broadcasting to them in two dimensions, horizontal and vertical. And if you know what you're talking about, you come across in a third dimension. People who come off the cheerleading field or the beauty contest runway do not necessarily bring that, more likely don't, to their jobs. And I think there's a difference, and the television viewer viscerally knows that.
I agree, by the way, and I'm glad you brought that out. Now let's talk about Barbara Walters. Now, where was she the first? I don't want to refer to as a pioneer. That makes it sound like.
But that's what she's called, and she is.
She is a pioneer.
Sure. I mean, anybody who goes into uncharted waters and does something for the first time is therefore probably eligible to be called a pioneer or barrier breaker or whatever. So sure.
And she opened up the area of news in general. Were there not any women in TV reporting?
There were a few. When I was growing up, there were one or two, but that was all. And most of them, although they were good, I think, didn't get on the air with frequency and didn't get on the air with the major story of the day, did not have a chance to engender viewer loyalty or prove themselves or become good journalists in the eyes of viewers, and so therefore their careers didn't last all that long. Given the same opportunities men had, they would have lasted. Barbara Walters took her opportunity, was a researcher, and parlayed it into an anchor person.
Now, I guess there would be some who would argue that while she was an anchor person, she was not a successful anchor person.
Does that mean all women aren't?
Well, no, but what I was going to say was, at the time, she was coupled with Harry Reasoner, who I guess you could say also was not a successful anchor person because that union came apart and they both went their separate ways. But he, of course, is a success, and she certainly is a success.
Exactly. I mean, if everybody tells me, well, Barbara Walters failed as a primetime anchor, so no other women can do that, that's the every woman theory. Why is that? Means because she didn't, someone else can't. Besides, if we're all going to fail, let's fail like that.
Yeah,
That's terrific. Being a good anchor person doesn't make you a good reporter, and vice versa. They're separate skills.
What was working in Washington like? Was that... is that the place to be if you're a news person, Washington?
That and New York. If you're going to cover network news, it's primarily politics. That's out of Washington. That'd be the place to be.
Okay, I hate to do this. We got to pause here, but I want to find out some more interesting stuff, as we say. I'm the only one who says that, by the way. More with Jessica Savitch right after this. Jessica Savitch is here. Bob the dog is not with us. We'll reschedule him at a later date. Anyway, when you were in Washington, did you go to the press conferences and ask questions of the presidents?
I did the press conferences, but I did them from the studio. I did the wrap-up afterwards saying, in case you tuned in late, what the president said was. I don't like the press conferences.
Have you ever asked a president a question?
Sure, I have, in other situations and in impromptu press conferences. But you don't get a lot at these press conferences. You really don't. Because what happens is everybody wants to get their question in, so it doesn't make any difference whether the president should declare war or what he wants to say.
He didn't do that, by the way, did he?
Oh, no,
good.
He didn't. No, he didn't today, I don't think.
But maybe we ought to phone the newsroom.
No, I don't think so. We wouldn't want to know, I guess. What happens is there's no follow-up question, so somebody can then ask about grain price supports in the Midwest, regardless of what he just said.
Oh, I see. So you could ask him anything, and then they would move right along. Yeah. But do you feel like a duck standing up there saying, asking the president a question?
You try not to think about that. You really try to think about the question. You try to ask what the person at home would ask if they were going to the press conference. Yeah. And you try not to think it's the president. If you start thinking, gee, it's the president, maybe they're not asking this.
Yeah.
Don't think about that.
Now, what about President Reagan? You can't make an assessment of him,
no,
can you?
that's one of the things we can't. I can not here.
Yeah.
I can privately. I can have my own opinion, surely.
Okay.
But I can't do that here because I'm supposed to be able to cover this objectively.
So we'll all go back to Jessica's place after the show.
Sure.
Still badmouth the Reagan administration. No. Listen, it was a pleasure meeting you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for being here.
It was a pleasure being here. Like the show.
Jessica Savitch. We'll be back after station identification with cartoonist Simon Bond and a George Washington's birthday play with the students of TS 84. My next guest is an NBC News correspondent and anchor of the NBC Nightly News every Saturday. Yes, I know it's confusing. She'll explain. She is also the author of the soon-to-be-published book, Anchorwoman, of which I am holding a copy in my left hand. We are delighted that she's back with us tonight. Please welcome Jessica Savitch. Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's a great looking cover there for your book.
Thank you. We had a great stand-in for this
cover.
No,
That's you. Now, should we explain why you didn't come out here on your own power?
Well, I guess we have to because my foot's wrapped like this, and only a fool would wrap their foot like this for the David Letterman show. At least they'd use a classier-looking bandage anyway. I have a great story that concerns a chandelier, a lot of guys, but it
Well, now we're getting somewhere.
But the fact of the matter is I just put a chair down and was reaching for a shelf book and fell over and just tore cartilage in my leg.
Oh, my.
Fortunately, we don't anchor with our feet unless we put them in our mouth inadvertently.
But painful nonetheless, I'm guessing.
Only when I'm breathing.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you bit the bullet. Is that what they say when people
bite the bullet? Better than biting the dust, I'll tell you.
Now, this Anchorwoman, now, this is not a novel. This is...
No, and it's not an autobiography either, although everybody says it is, and it isn't. It does not talk much about my personal life at all, or my career. And the only reason that's of interest is because I started out in 1969 when everybody said you have your job because, in spite of being female, and went through the stage where everybody said you've got your job because you're female. And a lot of the changes that went on with regard to women in television news have had an impact on society overall in role models for women and acceptance for women in all kinds of jobs. I kept notes from the beginning, and I just thought the time had come, and 2 years ago I started work on the book. And it's coming out September 20th, published by Putnam.
Now, is this in response to letters that people write in and asking you for advice, or is this just general how to become a...
No, and it's not even asking for advice. It is that inadvertent title of role model. For some reason, when you are a first or among the first, because I was certainly not the first, but among the first, they assume that because you can do the news on television, you therefore must have the answer to everything from how to get a date to how to cure the situation with regard to the Middle East. And they also assume that you have a perfect life. And I wanted to let people know that it is a job, it is a career, it is tough, and it doesn't mean your personal life is happy just because you do well on the air.
Now, when women, men and women, when they do ask you, how can I get to be, I'm getting out of college, whenever they get out of college, I want to be Jessica Savitch, what kind of questions do they ask you?
Well, I'll tell you, I teach at my undergraduate school, Ithaca College, and my students all ask me that, and I say, don't do it. And every one that disregards me, that's the one that does and succeeds.
Yeah.
There is no one set pattern. When we started out in the business, you went to a small market, you worked your way up, etc. Now, sometimes if you look good and you can read the words well on camera, doesn't matter if you can write, doesn't matter if you want to report or interview, you get the job. I wrote the book for that reason, too. Those people don't usually succeed, and I think we'll find that true over time. I also want to answer myths. Earlier, I was told women didn't get jobs because their voices weren't authoritative and women didn't want to watch other women on TV. They were jealous. They said, 11 o'clock, there's this woman, she's all dressed up, and I'm at home with my rollers. I don't want to watch this. Turn that woman off. You always wonder what he looked like at that time. At any rate, those myths are over, and the new myths are women can't get old on television. Or women have to be knockout glamour symbols to get jobs on television. I wanted to dispel those myths. My belief is
but
that...
see, excuse me for interrupting, but since you are glamorous and a knockout, it's...
Oh, David, now that's the when did you stop beating your wife question.
See, now it's difficult for people to say, oh, sure, she's got it all, but...
Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment, but the makeup people work long and hard here. Wardrobe and hair, too. It's visual. It's a visual industry. You have to look pleasant enough to be disregarded and let them listen to what you're saying. You don't have to be a knockout glamour symbol. What you have to be is three-dimensional. Horizontal and vertical have to look appealing, not overly appealing, but you have to have that third dimension of... Serious answer here, folks. You have to be able to come across in a third dimension, to know what you're talking about and communicate that. And viewers may not know that intellectually, but viscerally they sense that.
Let me ask you, I was reading some information about this very project this afternoon, and occasionally people will ask you what your dress size is or where you buy your blouses.
Not occasionally.
Frequently?
Not frequently. Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Now,
among the 60 letters a day about how-to and all that, by the way, we didn't quite answer that. The how-to is, there's no how-to.
Yeah.
You go out, you learn your trade, you apply your skill, and with luck and timing, maybe you'll make it. Do they ask me those questions? Yes, they do.
Now, your complaint, and it's absolutely true, is they probably don't ask Roger Mudd where he buys his suits. They probably don't ask Roger Mudd what size shirt he wears or whatever.
I don't know whether they do or not. I tend to doubt that. I do know that whenever anything about me is in a paper, not that it's an everyday occurrence here or anything like that, but occasionally they'll call me a news girl. Jessica Savitch, news girl, said today. I'm 34 years old. Yeah. See these euphemistic laugh lines here? It's crow's feet. I'd like to see them say, Tom Brokaw, newsboy, said today. Actually, I don't want them to say that, but I'd like them to recognize that past 21.
Let me now. We're running desperately short on time, and I wanted to ask you about other now women. No. It's not your fault. Women are imitating you now, aren't they?
I'm told that.
Now, when you see someone and you think she is imitating me, what things is she imitating? This is a question makes it seem like the women are imitating me. I have heard this. I have read that. I mean, anchor women, people working around the country.
Well, what I think is, why are you imitating somebody who said Jessica Savitch until she was 16 years old?
You had a speech problem.
That would be a conservative estimate, yes. I have the too precise speech of somebody who had a lot to overcome. I dressed the way I would have dressed had I become an attorney or a doctor or a homemaker or any combination. Why are they? Since television is a true mirror of reality, why not be what it is you are? Viewers are more likely to accept that. I don't need to tell you that.
Well, I think you do a wonderful job, horizontally, vertically, any way. The book is called Anchor Woman. Jessica Savitch, thank you very much for returning. I appreciate it. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. We'll be back with Toots Thielman. Now let me address myself to another topic. Today, of course, is February 22nd, 1983, and I guess everybody knows what happened in this very facility 1 year ago tonight. We were kind of proud about it. We made television history, and at the time, you know, people come up to me on the street now and they say, Dave, at the time, did you know you were going to be making television history? And actually, I have to confess, toward the end of the show, I had a feeling that there was magic in the air. And, of course, who knew? Because it seemed like just an ordinary show. Sure, we had Jessica Savitch. She's a wonderful person to talk to. And from Public School number 84, we had John Frankie and David Jeffries. They were great. And we also had Simon Bond. So we put all of these ingredients together, and a landmark television show took place. And so tonight we are going to kind of have a little reunion of the magic that occurred 365 days ago on February 22nd, 1982. Now, Paul, you were at the keyboard, as you are tonight. What was it like for you?
First of all, what a show. I have never seen... There's only one other show I saw, really, that gave me that type of feeling, and it was The Great Escape when Steve McQueen was running for the border. That's what you were like that night, I tell you, because you did the wacky props, and you were like, you know, it was swing. And then Jessica Savitch came out. It was like, forget about it, he's on a roll. You know, the kids did that play, that little high school play. It was over, but it wasn't over.
No.
Simon Bond, you killed with
That's
that
right.
show. I've never seen it. It was like pitching a perfect game.
That's right.
Forget about it. What a show.
And of course, you played no small part in that success.
Oh,
and
thank you.
of course, the tape of that show has been distributed to all of the major museums in the free world. And I guess I don't need to tell you that it happens to be the hottest bootleg videotape in North America. Our February 22nd, 1982 show. We're going to show you a couple of highlights from 1 year ago tonight, and then we've got some surprises. So watch the monitors, and at home, as always, use your television sets. And, this guy is trying to pick up a girl, I'm assuming. And the silliest line I've ever heard in my life, he leans over to her and he says, "Who do you think's funnier, Shields or Yarnell?" Now let's talk about Barbara Walters. Now, was she the first, I don't want to refer to as a pioneer, that makes it sound like...
But that's what she's called, and she is.
She is a pioneer.
Sure.
Now, from Manhattan, the kids from PS 84.
May I speak to you a moment? General, we have orders. And my mind wanders back to my own peaceful childhood in Virginia.
It was I, Father. I cannot tell a lie. I alone chopped down the cherry tree, and I alone should be punished.
Simon Bond is a young cartoonist who likes to shock his readers, it says here, with drawings of black humor. His first book, 101 Uses for a Dead Cat.
This is my mother's favorite. This is the plow. Can't say plow.
The plow with
That's a clever one. I like that one.
Plow with dead kitties.
This guy can certainly draw, can't he?
Good night, folks. All right. That was 1 year ago tonight. Let's meet the stars of that grand occasion. First, Jessica Savitch, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you, Jessica. Have a seat if you will. Now from PS 84, John Frankie and David Jeffries, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. Have a seat, sir. How do you do? Have a seat if you will. First of all, welcome back. We're happy you could be here 1 year later. And on the telephone, live from London, England, I believe we have Mr. Simon Bond. Hello, Simon. Oh, it's working just perfectly now. Is Simon there, please?
He is, David.
Oh, Simon, nice to hear your voice. I tell you what, since we have you on the phone, we have the other members of the show cast here. Do you have any memories of that night that stick out in your mind, Simon?
I just think it was the after the show party, which was so terrific, David.
Uh-huh. And how about dinner? Did you have a nice dinner after the show?
Well, I'm still waiting for NBC to pick up the tab. Is this the call telling me I've got it?
Oh, well, we'll look into that a little bit later, Simon. Hang on, I'm going to put you on hold. Hang on, Simon. That's Simon Bond, of course. Now, Jessica...
I didn't get invited to the party.
No, there was his attempt at a joke. Now, what are your memories of that night?
Well, I was very, very nervous, as a matter of fact. It was the very first time I'd been on a show of this nature, interviewing. And I came into the makeup room, and I thought, well, I was going to try my best. And I found the rundown sheet from the show. And it says, remember this, February 22nd?
Yes, I certainly do.
Everybody? It's great. First segment, it says main titles. David comes out, does his opening remarks. That went just fine. New gift items. Then we have interview with Jessica Savitch in one position. And the next break, we have interview with Jessica Savitch continued. And then we have this one down here, which says Jessica continued or Bob the dog.
That's right.
And so I knew, there was no pressure there. I knew that if I didn't do well, that Bob the dog would be here. Yeah.
But you
Is he here this week?
No, Bob's not here. You did just fine.
Thank you.
And as a result, you're part of broadcasting history. Let me ask John and David, what was so funny that was going on there? Who was it that started laughing? Was it you, John?
Oh, it was me.
Oh, okay.
Adam, I looked at his face. He was laughing at the time, and then I started to laugh out, too.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that's pretty much the story behind that, huh?
Yeah.
And do you have any memories of the big event? Were you a little nervous?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming back here. It's pretty exciting here tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we're not done. We have a very special surprise. You'll never guess who is going to be here. This gentleman is a very important and respected executive at NBC. He decides which shows are made here in New York and which shows are canceled. Ladies and gentlemen, and assembled guests, please welcome the Director of Programs for the East Coast here at NBC, Mr. John Maas.
Hi, Jessica. Hi, David. Hi, John. First of all, I want to congratulate you on the success of this show. It was terrific. It set a standard for this show. We're all very proud of the network of last February 22nd. And it really is what this show is all about. And to thank you, I brought some commemorative gifts. Everybody, an NBC decal.
Oh, good. Good. Did you hear that, Simon? You're getting a decal. You can put it on your car or your window, anything.
And Dave.
It's a decal. It's lovely.
And a peacock pin.
Oh.
Okay?
And you're getting some cheap jewelry also.
Oh, really? Is it in gold or silver?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I just know where to put this. I'll hang it up.
Did you say you just know where to put that?
Yes, I do.
I bet she does. Okay.
And we thought that maybe as a surprise you would like the tour of backstage to see what really goes on in a network show.
Backstage
I'd like to see
tour.
that. I
Would you like to see that,
very much
Jessica?
like to see that.
David, would you
Yes,
like to
I
see it,
would.
John?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, that's exciting. A backstage tour.
And I've got these for Simon if he ever decides to come to New York.
Okay, I'll hold
You'll
those
hold
for
on to
Simon.
them?
I'll hold them for
Okay.
Simon. Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the
Congratulations
thank you
again,
very much, and
Dave.
thanks for the
Welcome
tour.
this way?
Yes,
Going on a
thank you.
tour
You want to
now.
come?
Thank you, Jessica. Nice seeing you again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
The makeup room.
Okay, Simon, they're going on a tour of backstage, and we'll get your
This is
pin
the
and your
makeup
decal
room?
to you as soon as we
Yeah,
pay
this
for the
is where
meal.
everybody puts their
Okay,
makeup
take
on.
care.
There's-
Bye-bye.
Okay,
well, there you go. It's our
puts on
fabulous
David's makeup
February
every day.
22nd,
Is
1982
there
reunion.
NBC Family
We have to go
Gallery
away
over
for
here?
commercial. We'll be back
Jessica,
with
this is where we
Hunts
have pictures
Hall.
of all our stars. This is Tom Gallery, one of the writers. The mirrors that David looks into, he puts on his makeup every morning. Okay, we're going out to the hall now. Jessica, we're going to the hall. And right outside we have Johnny Carpenter, who's our favorite page over here. And this compresses some air. NBC garbage cans. I don't know what this is. This is a boom hook. Somebody sits up here, rides the boom. This is Monitor, and these are the PAs who want the show. This is Howard Bennington, who does sound effects. Can you just take this for a second? Want to try this? Jessica, you want to try it? This is Howdy Doody, who was shot in the studio. This is one of our lockers. This is props, little spray. This is gel. This goes in the lights to make them color.
Jello.
Made out of Jello.
Good night.
See what it's made of? You want it